Hey, hi, ho, hum. Hey, why are you sideways? Okay, that works. Hi, I'm still here. I have not gone away. I have not stopped thinking about Mandarin Chinese. And I definitely have not stopped thinking about y'all. This is my completely inaccurate, not completely, mostly inaccurate map of Shanghai right behind me. And I'm still in Shanghai, China, and I'm sort of studying Mandarin Chinese. So I just wanted to do a quick, how the hell am I kidding? This is not going to be quick. I wanted to do an update and thinky video, and I'm going to stop moving the holder right now. Anyway, hey, you guys, I can't believe you're still subscribed to this channel. That is insane. How many videos have I put out in the past few months? One? Thank you, is what I meant to say. So, in short, I have been starting and not continuing so many different ways of studying. I tried to go back to the HSK stuff. I tried to do some new stuff. I downloaded a couple more apps, despite my realization that language learning apps don't generally work for me. I've tried so many different things over the past, oh gosh, almost 7 months now. It's terrible. It's terrible. And yet, it's just what needed to happen. And I don't know, it's really hard to say it is terrible because there's so many good things that came out of starting this channel all this time ago. Like the YouTube channel and my first podcast started almost 2.5 years ago now. And the first podcast changed and morphed and is now my most popular podcast, Virtual Expats. And we talk about how an expat's online activities change as they change countries. I'm especially interested in serial expats like myself who live in more than one country over the course of their adult life. But I do also interview folks who just move to one place and stay there and their habits change over time. It's really fun to do these interviews. It's not what the podcast started as, but it is what it is now. And this YouTube channel is not what it started as. It started as me talking about my methods. And what happened is that I started interviewing people about their language story. I thought I was interviewing them about their methods too, and that sort of comes up occasionally. But what I really found out I was interested in is how they learned their first language the same as they learned in their second language. Do the things they like about language in their first language the same about the things they like about language in their second language? You can see what's happening here. I was really, really curious about the longer view of someone's, that's so funny, I can see myself. Can you see me in my glasses? These are clearly not glare-free glasses. Anyway. Side note. But they're so cute. Check this out. Anyway. All right, look. Point is, you don't buy your reading glasses at a department store for $2. That's what you don't do. But they're so cute. Anyway, not me, the glasses. Yeah, right. Anyway, what am I saying? So what I ended up doing is I ended up really wanting to look at the long view of someone's relationship with language. And so even those interviews evolved. And that's the Changing Scripts podcast. Still going strong. I have 4 podcasts now, so a lot of them are only monthly, like once a month. They're once a month. Virtual Expats, because it's the most popular and because I interviewed far too many people this year, is bi-weekly. So that's, okay, let me change that. I have 4 podcasts, half are bi-weekly, half are monthly. There you go. So anyway, so Virtual Expats is every 2 weeks. Changing Scripts is once a month. I hope to increase that. Once I get some sort of revenue in with the podcast or get back on my feet financially with a different job at some point, that kind of thing. I really, really hope to go bi-weekly. The interviews are so long, they're 60 to 90 minutes, that I don't think I'm ever going to go weekly. That feels like it's too much of an ask for the listener, even if I can financially have my editor work on it. I think that's too much. As a listener, I don't want a podcast I'm listening to that's an hour and a half of my time every 2 weeks. So bi-weekly or monthly is the extent of what I do there. The third one used to be Expat Rewind. It's called Bookish Expats, and we talk to an expat about a book that helped them understand their host country. That changed from Expat Rewind to Bookish Expats just a few months ago. Loving the change. If you are a bookworm or know any bookworms, even if they're not expats or they're not interested in the expat lifestyle, if they're interested in other cultures or just damn good books, send them over to Bookish Expats. The fourth one's Creatively Complicated, and there's a reason why I'm telling you all four of these. I promise you, it connects to my language learning intensely. So Creatively Complicated is a co-host experience that has already started. Bookish Expats, I'm going to have a co-host starting later on this month at the end of July, but we haven't released that yet. But Creatively Complicated is a completely co-hosting experience. Myself and Summer Rylander have started a podcast about the messiness of our own creativity, because we both seriously struggle with what we do, what we want to do, and what we can do with our creativity, emotionally, strategically, financially, you name it, and we're covering the top. We have like a list of like 70 some topics, and we're bi-weekly. So it's going to take us a while to get through those, and we're generating more all the time as we experience our creative and non-creative lives. That one's not an interview. That's a conversation between herself and myself. It's a conversation between the two of us, and it's a very honest, blunt view of one aspect of creativity in each episode. For example, the last episode we talked about boxing and creativity, and how we limit ourselves, how other people limit us within our creativity, and how society as a whole limits what is creativity and all that entails. It's not academic at all. It's us just getting deep down into our emotions, our experiences, and all that kind of good stuff. So it's us. We do, because we're both bookworms and we both consume a lot of content audio-wise. Also, we do bring in books and movies and on podcasts and all that kind of stuff. When we hear something that connects to our creativity, we bring that in. So that there's a lot of resources there too. And this is the thing, all of these 4 podcasts, and that's bi-weekly, all of these 4 podcasts have absolutely positively taken over my life. And the 2 to 3 hours a day of studying Mandarin Chinese that I did last year for the HSK test that I took has been reassigned, because I'm not going to play the victim here. I made choices. It's been reassigned to these podcasts because the conversations, the organization, the editing, until I had an editor, the promotions, the setup, the writing of different things for promotional purposes, all of that fell on, me. I mean, thank goodness now I have 2 co-hosts, so some of that falls on them, which is a beautiful thing. But ultimately, I started these creatures, and for a very, very long time, I was doing it all by myself. I love this stuff so much. I have to stop myself from working on it, and that is the problem. Is it a problem? I don't know. But it definitely has gotten, I can't say in the way, because again, I want to own this. I've definitely reassigned my time over to all 4 podcasts. But some of the conversations that I've been having on Changing Scripts that you'll hear in the next few months, because it's only monthly. So the conversation I've been having lately, you'll hear in September and October. But they've really, every conversation I've had on Changing Scripts has really inspired me. But I think after a few months of really just kind of giving up on even attempting to study, I stopped carrying materials with me. I said, maybe just not now. Maybe I'll get back to it later. And I've started to want to study again recently. And I was interviewing Tom from Tom Reads, who is our next guest on Changing Scripts podcast that comes out the first Friday in August, China time, which if you're in North America is then the day before. So it's Thursday, the first Thursday in August. Tom Reads is his handle on Instagram. And he has an amazing Instagram feed with his study of sinology, Chinese language, He does history of Chinese. He does posts on lifestyle stuff, books, really, really stylistic posts. He's an amazing, amazing content creator, seriously. And he's studying Mandarin Chinese in the most beautiful way. Turns out he was watching the YouTube channel. You probably heard me talk about him before. He was watching this YouTube channel when it was being produced regularly. And was it ever regular? More frequently, let's just say. I don't know if I ever really stuck to a schedule. And he remembered graded readers that I recommended. And I did recommend some that I really liked, but my one caveat is that they were too high level for me, and I couldn't find ones at a lower level. But I really liked the aspects of it. And so he actually saw that, started to buy them, was at high enough level that he literally sent me a message where he showed me like the list of the graded readers. I wonder if it's in this one here that I have. I have one of them right here. I don't know that this one has it. No, it doesn't. He had a list of all of the graded readers, and he was like, and then I bought this one, and 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 he showed me all the ones that he bought after that first one because he loved learning by reading these very approachable, very, very usable, very small, light, easy to carry kind of books. That's probably more my interpretation of what he said than exactly what he said. And I was so inspired by this that I was like, okay, Tom, give me a recommendation, because the one that I recommended on the channel, I was like, this is good if you're at this level. I'm not at that level. I guess I'll wait. And I ended up giving away the book that I used in my video, because I just got so frustrated that I couldn't approach it because it was too high. And Tom came back and gave me a recommendation. He actually gave me a recommendation for this Mandarin Companion one. And this is level 1. Okay. Now, he actually recommended the Secret Garden one, but I have a thing for monkeys, so I actually got this story. I wasn't sure if it was a Chinese story or not, but my husband swears it's a European story, so oh well. But it is adapted for China. For example, even though it must be based off of, and I haven't even read the introduction yet, and I will not put you through that, but I did read enough to know that they've adapted stuff. For example, the list of characters, you can see they've changed them to Chinese characters. They have Zhang Xiping, Zhang Tai Tai. Sorry, Tai Tai is also like a slang word for like a rich wife that doesn't work. Ladies who lunch, I think, is how we would say it in the US. From what I understand, a Tai Tai is a very privileged woman who is married to a very rich man and does not work, but spends her money as she wants. That's my understanding. I don't think that's who this character is supposed to represent. I think that's just her name. But just Tai Tai by itself has that meaning. Anyway, Zhang Guishong and Qian Yun Lai. Again, my tones are still off. Of course they're off. I haven't practiced for months. And they set it in, not in Europe, but they actually have a map here too. They set it in Yunnan province, which is down near Vietnam. So I was really, really excited. And the past few days, you can tell I'm back in my ways of writing down the date that I've done stuff. On the first day, because I wanted to do a few days before I told you about this, because I was really like, oh, am I going to do this for a day or two and just stop? Oh my God, no. First of all, I tried to find the audio for this online, and I got rather impatient. So I just started to Google, because the QR codes and the barcode, sorry, I did that backwards. The QR code in the book, right there, and the barcodes led me nowhere. So I just searched for the series, the Mandarin Companion series, and lo and behold, Audible had it on sale for like $2.50. I'm not going to search anymore for that. I have Audible credit. I listen to a lot of audiobooks. I have eye issues, so I listen to a lot of audiobooks. Yes, I know my goal is reading. I am a hypocritical person that has conflicting goals. Okay, so there's that. Life is very confusing. Anyway, I listen to a lot of audiobooks, so I just bought it. I bought the sound, and it's actually really beautiful, nicely done sound. Let me show you. I'm listening to so many different books right now. It's absolutely ridiculous. What? You want to know what they are? Okay, quick sidebar. Girl Stop Apologizing by Rachel Hollis. I don't usually do self-help. She's friggin' awesome. I was listening to chapter 5 of Big Magic again because it's a wonderful view on creativity and just letting go of preconceived notions. Upheaval by Jared Diamond, I'm reading for a book club. 5 Point Someone by Chetan Bhagat, because my co-host for Bookish Expats actually came on as a guest initially, and she talked about his books, and I love this one. And Lean In by Sheryl Sandberg. I think those are all the ones. Yeah, those are all the ones I have my feet in, my eyes in, my ears in right now. Anyway, sidebar over. Let's listen to just a few seconds of this beautiful recording. Okay, internet. We'll give it a second. But anyway, yeah, so there's probably a cheaper way to get the audio, but I thought $250 was a very fair price for something with 10 chapters of just it's all in Chinese. And it looks like very little per page, but keep in mind that I'm still at a pretty low level, so I think to understand each chapter will take me at least a week or two, so this is like a few months of studying. Studying. This is a few months of reading. So this $250 for the audio will last me quite a while. Okay, this is supposed to be internet independent. Very strange. It's probably just my phone. You really shouldn't have a cell phone beyond 2 years, apparently. It's almost 3. Shoot. Okay, well, if it comes on, I'll show you. But yeah, it's got pictures, it's got some big words, which is really good. Even with my glasses, it's really nice to not have to be able to read it in a dark room. Let's go, just in the middle of chapter 5, just so you can hear the accent.
多了，现在猴爪是我们的了。张桂生笑了，爸，如果你相信钱叔叔的故事是真的，那就许个愿吧。好吧，张西平又拿起了猴爪说。
And that is a beautiful speed for me, but with Audible, if you're truly bored with that, you can always go faster. You can change the speed. What can you change it to? You can go up to 3.5 times the speed in Audible. This sounds like an advertisement for them, and although I'd love to have an affiliate code, I'm not that organized. This is just me loving that service. All right, so what else do I need to tell you? So you've got the story, you've got the pictures. I have done chapter 1 the first time. Like I said, it's going to take me a while to fully understand what's happening now. I can get kind of the idea of it, and because it's a story structure, I know kind of what's happening. I know chapter 1 is just setting the scene. They were talking about the weather being cold. They're talking about 20 years old. Somebody's 20 years old. I can tell when somebody's speaking, well, one, because of quotation marks, but also they say this phrase after it that I can't find right now because I'm trying to show you. Well, they say so. Oh, Zhang, what is his name? What, I just said his name, didn't I? Zhang. What's your second word? It's not Zhang Shiping, it's Zhang. Oh, there's 2 Zhangs. Yeah, that's not confusing at all, folks. Oh, that is Zhang Shiping. Okay. Zhang Shiping, they'll say Zhang Shiping Song. Is it Song? Said. Here, it's this one here. It sounds like Song. Again, ignore my tones. Yeah, that's not coming in. There you go. That one there. That last character is a word. And I think that's said, right? I could look it up on Pleco right now, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, there's words at the bottom. And after all of the chapters, they have a few different interesting... I love these pictures. Like, it's just... I am a child in Mandarin Chinese, so I love having stuff that's, like, easily approachable and very simple conversation. They have a few different word lists in the back of the book. Let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different things that they have in the back of the book, so you might be interested in. One is keywords. They have 83 keywords. They have the Hanzi characters, the pinyin, and the part of speech, and the English. So they have that. Guanjia, Jian Qi. I'll think about that later, but some of those characters look familiar. Okay. Part of speech guide, boring. Discussion questions. Haven't really dug into those yet. Probably won't for a while because I'm still just trying to remember the vocabulary that I recognize and learn the new vocabulary. I will probably be making flashcards. That's what I do. Then they have a comparison reference. I know some people like to do this. They have the words within the same, that use the same character. If you're into that kind of thing, apparently they do that in this series. I'm not a huge person to do that yet. My brain kind of does that as is, so I really don't appreciate that yet. I might in the future. Who knows? I give up on trying to predict where my brain will go. And then they have, my favorite part, is they have Practical Chinese Reader, books 1 to 2, first edition. Words and characters in this story not covered in these 2 textbooks, and then words and characters in this story not covered by these 3 levels. And they have HSK 1, 2, and 3. So they're basically admitting, and they do mention it in the part of the foreword that I read, is that this is beginning. And they defined beginning as like a year and a half or something of studying Chinese. And that is HSK 3. So this actually is at my level because I passed, but barely, HSK 3 in December of last year. And I haven't really done much since then, so I probably wouldn't even pass it again now if I took it because it's been so long. So they have all of those words. And then they have a grammar point index. Which is arranged by English grammar point. That's kind of handy. I didn't notice or care about that the first time. True to my grammar is the last thing I pay attention to self. And then acknowledgements and stuff. And here's the fun thing, is that this part I do want to read. It says, about Mandarin Companion. Mandarin Companion was started by Jared Turner and John Pasden. And if you're in China, you know who that is. Who met one fateful day on a bus in Shanghai when the only remaining seat left them sitting next to each other. I suck reading from a text. A year later, Jared had greatly improved his Chinese using extensive reading, but was frustrated at the lack of suitable reading materials. Tell me about it. He approached John with the prospect of creating their own series. Having worked in Chinese education for nearly a decade, John was intrigued with the idea and thus began the Mandarin Companion series. And they go on to tell you more about their experiences. But John Pasden, I've seen his name in Chinese language circles in Shanghai, in China. I don't even remember. I've seen his name so many times that I've forgotten where, but I know it's in relation to Chinese language. So I'm excited that he had a hand in this book. And I do apologize to Jared Turner. I'm not as familiar with him, but I'm sure I should be. There's lots of names that float around me, but for some reason, I think what happened is I saw John Pasden speaking in Shanghai, but I wasn't able to go, and he kind of went onto my dream list because of the topic that he was talking about, of people I wanted to interview eventually for Changing Scripts. So I think that's why his name turned up. It's but I've seen him mentioned in a few different things, and I think I've seen some academic articles of his very accidentally because I consume so much that occasionally academic articles still make their way into my life. So I'm really excited about this. I was really looking forward to the past 2 nights getting into this, and I can see myself, once I remember more of the words and learn the new words, I can see myself reading along with the audio and eventually hopefully understanding what's going on. I will also break down the grammatical structures in different ways. There's a list of 20 some most common structures that I found online that I want to break into. So I think I might map that with this and do like a hunt in each page, each sentence, each chapter. Is that structure in this, and kind of compare the two? And I think by doing that, I think that'll solidify those frequent structures, and I think that'll help me meaning wise, and I think that'll help me learn stuff from context. So I'm back to reading, and I know that probably bugs some folks, but I'm guessing if you're that person, you're not here at this point 25 minutes into the video. If you're not committed, you're not making it this far into the video. So I'm back and I'm reading and I'm ignoring my HSK stuff because I just don't think I'm going to be doing 4. If I can get every stinking one of these and get good at them, I think I can branch out to other reading materials and go up the levels and just keep reading and just keep reading. And because these stories have a lot of spoken language in them, I can probably, if I'm still in Shanghai when I get to that point, I can probably start using some of the words and phrases in person as well. It's not my goal, but I always imagined that in reading, eventually I would use the stuff speaking at some point. It was inevitable. I wasn't ignoring speaking, it just wasn't my main goal because I am a reader despite my own eye issues and stuff. So yeah, so I'm really excited. So thank you, Tom, and thank you also to my language accountability buddy, Cameron, who has his own podcast now, Mandarin by Mistake. Despite my weeks and weeks and weeks of reporting what I was going to do and not doing it, he stuck with me, and we just kept talking about what we were going to work on, and he kept doing stuff and I kept not doing stuff, and now I'm back. Yay! And his podcast is so good, it's ridiculous. Mandarin by Mistake. You should check it out. Definitely. He's got a very different vibe. He's got a different, it's him reporting on what he's studying. He has so many different tips that he's giving people as he's using things. And he's sharing the tools that he's using as well. And he has a very different goal. He's much more focused on speaking. Actually, he's mostly He's focused because he's speaking focused. There you go. There's a blend. There's a natural blend for you. Take it and run. Anyway, so I'm moving around like this because I'm on a yoga ball. Yeah. What's my point? My point is I'm back. I don't know how frequently I'm going to be doing this video. But since I'm reading, that lends itself to the visual medium. So I hope to be doing updates here, but I cannot promise you at this point in the game because I've been going so long, how frequently I'll be back here. But I know how my brain works, and I know if I continue reading this book, which I really hope I do, I'm going to be reporting back to you on things I understand and things I notice and things that are fun to point out and all kinds of different things. And if I start to use the language in the book in real life, I'll report that back to you too. So I'm really hoping this is me coming back because I want to keep reading. I got really sad there for a second because I don't know how much longer I'll be in China. I'm fine. I know a lot of people freak out and they go, "Oh my God, are you safe? You're in China. It must be awful." It's not. It's not. There's good and bad things everywhere, folks. And some places that sometimes have more of the bad than the good, and whatever. It's a matter, and the good and the bad really depends on where you want to be. In short, we are looking for work outside of China. This could take months, it could take a year. But if somebody comes up with a job for either my husband or myself, we're out of here after our notice at work. We're not going to just take off, folks. Come on, we're adults. So we're going to give proper notice, and then we're going to pack up our crap and realize we bought too much stuff in the past 2.5 years, and we'll be out of here. So I don't know when that's going to happen. So part of my hesitation with getting back into learning is, why? Why? And the answer to that is I always knew I wanted to read so that I could read online. And so I could take the language skill with me. I knew we weren't going to be here forever, and we still might be here for a while. So the sadness is because I really like Shanghai. But truth be told, the pollution's getting me down. And I'm an outside person, and it's a very inside place. Between the heat, humidity, and pollution, I'm rarely outside, and my physical activity and a lot of physical problems I have are just exacerbated by being inside. Even doing physical activity inside, it's not the same as physically being outside. I miss parks, and which there are plenty of, but I just can't go to them the vast majority of the day. I miss bicycling, I miss hiking, I miss just going for a walk. And those are things I can't do most of the days here with my current sensitive... Oh, fuck it. No. The pollution's bad. It's not as awful as the news makes it seem, but it's also really not great. So I've hit my end of my tolerance of being an inside person. So we're looking for places where I can be an outside person. But seriously, Shanghai is not what you see in the friggin' news. I really, really encourage you to go over to my other podcasts and hear some of the better stuff that I say about Shanghai and about China. This is a complex country. And there's a lot of good stuff going on here right now. And I'm not forced to say that. I choose to say that. I wouldn't learn the language if I hated the culture entirely. That seems ridiculous. Anyway, so there's a lot of bittersweet stuff happening, but if I can take the language with me when I go, whenever that is, then that is something that I can take with me. And yeah, there's that. So, and that would be a bittersweet moment of reading Chinese in a park somewhere with clean air. Oh, this took a turn for the worse, didn't it? Who's left? Who's left at 32 minutes in? Hey, I missed you guys. I really appreciate all your comments where I kept flailing back and forth, and I really appreciate all your support on social media too. I kept posting on Instagram, but man, it was few and far between as far as language goes. But I kept doing the podcast on languages, so I'm still in languages, and hopefully it's not too late to continue to get a second language, to get fluency in a second language. And how is that defined? I don't know yet. For me, I think it's a very individual thing, and for me, I think it's probably a much lower bar than some perfectionists. For me, it's reading a few pages and forgetting that I was reading a different language. For me, it's probably having like a 10-minute light conversation. For me, it's probably very low bar, but it's definitely me forgetting that I'm using a different language. That is definitely